Good evening, everyone. I hope all is well this evening. It is Wednesday. Thank you for joining us here in the Ladies Lounge. I am Jazz, and this is T.
Hello.
We hope you guys are having an awesome week so far, and it is Hump Day. Okay. Oh my gosh! Look in the back, friend. Don't look. That's not my hair back there. That's sticking up like that, but it looks like it. It just caught my eye. Sorry, guys. Okay, so today's topic is estranged or abandoned by a parent. Are children scarred for life? Now, this is an interesting topic, and I definitely want you. We want your opinions on, how to go about this matter, but or even an answer to this question.
Right.
When a parent leaves a relationship with children involved, regardless if it's a mother or father, and they stop taking care of their kids, the kids that they had in the relationship with the mother or the father, they stop taking care of their kids, but they start a whole new family and start taking care of those children, but completely stop taking care of their other children. Like no calls, no visits. If you call, you know how it is. Maybe once a month, maybe once a week. No financial support.
Right.
No attending Little Mikey's conference or any of his concerts or anything like that. When you completely abandon your child, like, is that how that goes? I want your opinions because we're going to talk about this because we have children, we have other parents of children that's going on about their way and living their life, and we've done the same. But how is it that you feel comfortable within yourself to be able to not take care of your child, but to take care of the next person's child that is, number one, isn't yours, or even if it is yours, you still got other children prior to that one. Now, I'm thinking of a couple different situations, right? I'm thinking because I know women make it hard sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I know just because of the way the relationship ended, there's usually like a lot of anger, a lot of hostility, bitterness, unforgiveness built up, and it's like, we don't want you to see the kids. Like, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. So you don't see the kid, but you also don't send money for the kid, because if you can't see it, why send money, right? And I'm wondering, like, how does that balance out? Or either sometime the opposite parent feels, well, if I can't have you, I don't want nothing to do with the kid either. Like, if I can't have the complete package or have you in the manner I want to have you in. And I don't know if it's mostly men, but to me, what I've encountered, that's a mostly man situation where I don't want to deal with the kid if I can't have you in the manner that I had you in, or if I can't have you at my beck and call. You know what I'm saying? If I can't come through at night, then I don't want to see little Mikey, and I ain't going to send no money for him.
Right.
You know?
Right. But the main thing is, are the children scarred for life?
Right.
So that's the main thing. When it's a estranged or abandoned parent, do you feel that the child is scarred for life? I think that's something that you have to experience in order to actually be able to answer that. Because if you was not an abandoned or estranged child growing up, and your kid's not that you don't have your opinion about it,
right,
but to be able to say no, because my child turned out this way and only had one parent. You know what I'm saying? Or I turned out this way and I only had one parent. So I honestly don't believe that the children are scarred for life with having just one parent. I mean, don't nobody go into having kids or being in a relationship with somebody, regardless if you're married, boyfriend, girlfriend, living together, not living together, whatever the case may be. I don't believe anybody goes into a relationship saying, I just want this child by myself. And I remember we had a topic kind of like that before. I don't remember what the topic was. I don't think anybody really goes into wanting that. But when you
being a single parent.
Yeah, being a single parent. But when you have that baby or you have that child, and that parent abandons the child or is estranged,
Right.
because they choose to, I think that's when it's more harder. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have in your mind that's what your plan is. Because you know what I said, some people be like, oh, I'm gonna just have this baby and I can take care of this baby on my own. But
Right.
if that's not your thought process, if your thought process that you want to raise this child together with this man,
Or a woman.
yeah, with this man or woman, you're right. It can really scar the parent as well as the kid, but it's also how you raise the kid to substitute for the other parent that's not there.
Now I know with my situation, we're here in Maryland and his father is in North Carolina, and I find myself overcompensating.
Mm-hmm.
But also now my son is old enough, now he's asking questions. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, about how everything went down. And I know it's, out of him being curious because he wants to know why we're no longer together.
Right.
But I try to make sure that he knows that he is loved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless to whatever transpired between me and his father. My whole thing is to make sure that he knows that I'm here no matter what. His daddy is there. Not to say that, his dad don't do what he can, but there are times when I feel that he can do more. There are times where he should be doing more, but he don't. I don't bring it to my son. Like, I try not to allow him to feel like his dad is not caring about him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because even though he's not abandoned and he's not estranged, we can easily say that as adults because we know, but that kid might feel that way. That child might feel that way. So,
thank you guys for joining us.
Do you feel that your child or just growing up as a kid that you scarred for life? I don't think so. And I'm just going back a little bit with history with my daughter. I thank God that she's as strong as she is.
Yeah.
Because her biological dad wasn't in her life. And I thank God that she had people around her that, was supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Her stepdad, her dad now, who is, still in her life.
Right.
It didn't damage her. And I'm not saying that it never bothered her, or it still does, but it hasn't affected her. Let me say that. It hasn't affected her. But at one point in her life, as she was growing up, I would say to her, do you feel this way because of, the other parents not here? Or do you feel this way because of how things happen? And she would tell me no, but as when she was acting out and things going on, I know teenagers going to be teenagers. Mm-hmm. But we as parents, we sometimes find things to be like reasons to say this is probably why my child is acting that way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But she said that it never, bothered her. But and it probably didn't. But like I said, I just thank God that it hasn't put a major effect on her life. You get what I'm saying?
But you know what? I think that's one of them things too that kind of you can't really pinpoint it until you're older.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you like talking about your childhood growing up, mm-hmm. you know what I'm saying? And somebody that, okay, so I have a lot of friends that have married parents. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That have both mm-hmm. parents in the house. And because, of course, I come from a single family home, mm-hmm. Whatever. I realize now that my decisions may have been a little bit different had I had an active father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Not saying it affected me in a bad way. Right. Maybe I would have thought more about doing this, or maybe I would have, not done this if I would have had a different male perspective. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I didn't feel abandoned because I had my uncle there with me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I was blessed to still have a male presence.
Yes.
But I do believe not having the opposite parent, whichever one you're missing, does affect your life, because I know men that their mom wasn't active in their life. You know what I'm saying? And they have different women issues.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Would definitely work both ways. I just lost my thought, my train of thinking. Oh, I forgot what I was about to say that quick.
I am just really shocked at you today, Missy. I mean, Tamara remembers everything, y'all. I mean, everything. And all of a sudden today, she can't remember her schedule for November.
No.
The nerve of her.
But like I was saying, how it said keep positive people surrounded in your kid's life when that absent parent is there, because just as much as fathers sometimes aren't there, moms aren't there neither. Because I
Right.
mean, I have heard and seen people say, "Oh, my mother's not in my life; she's doing whatever she's doing."
Mm-hmm.
Even with my dad, my dad was in my life growing up. Him and my mom's parted ways. They never came back together, but I do remember as a kid, I always used to pray that they got back together. I remember, this is a story that I never really even shared with people, but I remember when I was probably about 11, even going on probably like 12, which I know is crazy. I remember, you know how when you look up in the skies and
Wishing on the
you see
star.
the stars, and I used to wish, be like, there go that star. Let me wish upon that star where I wish my parents would get back together. But it never happened. But I would say my father never abandoned me. He was never estranged. He was always in my life, but he did have another family. You know what I'm saying? It's just me and my sister, but he did still have another family once he got married and moved on. But I never felt abandoned and I never felt estranged. I was glad that he was able to step up to the plate once he got himself together. Because you couldn't tell me nothing about my father. Let me tell you one thing.
You better not.
You couldn't tell me nothing about him. I don't care.
That's awesome.
So are children scarred for life?
I think
I don't
I think it
think
just
they
affects.
are.
I just think it affects everybody differently. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because just because the scar ain't visible, because the child can't identify it, and you can't either, don't mean it don't affect their life in some way or another. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's. I don't know. I can't call it, because I know even for me, my dad was in Texas my whole life. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And my mom kept it very, very too very real with me about what he wasn't doing, and he wasn't this and he wasn't that.
Right.
But he would
Right.
still call. You know what I'm saying? Every now and
Right.
then he would still call. He would come get me, take me to play with my cousins when he was in
Mm-hmm.
town.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the ground he walked on too. There was nothing you could, again, there was nothing you could say about my dad to me, because even though I didn't have we wasn't even 2 states away. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We were numerous states away. So I think I just think it has a different toll on people, and I think also too their experience, whatever that absent parent is, their relationship with those people of the same sex. You know what I'm saying? So like if I miss him, if my dad is gone and I didn't learn the things that I needed to learn to deal with a man, every man that I deal with, I'm going to be looking for some kind of father thing, whatever that is.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Uh-huh.
maybe it's going to bring me into bad relationships. Maybe it's going to bring me into abusive relationships, or relationships, the controlling relationships. Men, that have mommy issues, they end up treating women bad, or, not saying everybody, I can't generalize that
Right.
statement, but these are just things that I've noticed as I've been going throughout life. You know what I'm saying? Oh, real quick, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I don't know if I did that earlier, but for some reason I can't see anybody's comments. But I do see we have a couple people. Ramon said children can be scarred in a single parent or both parent homes. Circumstances dictate children's experiences. That
No,
is
and that,
absolutely true.
yes, you definitely right. Because sometimes, and that's crazy that you say that too, because even earlier as I was thinking when we was gonna do this topic, sometimes, you just be thinking throughout the day, how the topic's gonna go, what you're gonna say, how it's gonna flow. And it's sad and crazy to say that I don't know if it's the right thing to say that sometimes the other parent might be the best thing to not be in a child life. It's crazy. Don't shoot me for even saying that. Don't think of me a certain way. And I only say that because sometimes we as parents could bring so much negativity to our
Yes,
kids.
because we feeling it.
We can bring so much negativity to our kids because of the way we were brought up, or probably what we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Even looking into the topic, it was saying that sometimes kids are the ones that also abandon and estranged from their parents as well. And sometimes they know it's the parents. Because
Because of
sometimes you
drama,
have the
probably.
parents that want to reach out, but the kid is feeling some type of way because of maybe something that happened in the past. They might, it even be like, just don't want to follow the rules or don't want to listen to what the parents say. So they're like, I'm not dealing with that parent. You know, they don't know what they're talking about, this and this
They
and
don't
that.
know what I'm going through.
So sometimes the parent could try to reach out
Mm-hmm.
to the kid as much as the parent should do. But we talking about, I guess that's more when you growing up, you
Yeah,
know,
when you
because it
grown.
starts from the home. You know what I'm saying? It definitely starts from the home. Because like I said, in my situation, I thank God and I pray God that it didn't affect my daughter. She's, you know, a wonderful child. And, you know, again, like I said, I did question as she was growing up, was this the issue because her biological dad wasn't in her life? Is she's acting out this way? And like I said, as we as parents, we trying to find reasoning of why our kids is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we sometimes be like, oh, you grew up in a 2-parent family home, or I gave you this, I gave you this. My child ain't one for nothing. Why you acting like this?
Yeah.
You know, why you choosing this route? Why you
Mm-hmm.
acting out? But when we can dig deep and find a reason of why they might be doing that, that might be, you know, you look at maybe because this person wasn't here, did this happen, you know, this and that. So I believe that some children can be scarred for life, but I just I thank God that mine wasn't. Even when it comes to my son, he have both kids and both parents in his life, but that doesn't mean, I don't know, maybe when he grow up as an adult, he may feel some type of way. But as of right now, in his childhood, he's not showing no signs. So I thank God for that. You know, just the fact that no, both his
Mm-hmm.
parents are there, but we're not together. You know, which he has asked questions when he was younger. Why you and daddy ain't together? Even at one point, he didn't even know that we was married.
And I got
You
a
know what
question
I'm
for you.
saying?
When do those questions go away? Because I am sick of answering. You know, and I tried to keep it like that. I didn't even want him to know we was married because I knew the questions was gonna come. But after a while I couldn't mask it any longer. And my kid is the type of kid to just keep asking the same question until he get an answer that he needs. So right now I'm experiencing that where he's asking, not only is he asking why we not together, but now he asking why can't we get back together? You know
Right,
what I'm saying? So
right.
I
And
have to
just
keep it, PG-13 real. But, I don't mind sharing that with him because, I mean, he needs to know the truth on a level that he can understand it. You know what
right.
I'm saying? And I knew that this was going to happen. So I prepared myself to be able to tell him the full truth when he becomes of age to be able to understand what I'm saying.
Right, right. Well, sometimes you it's no time frame where you can say them questions are gonna stop being asked. It's really not.
Can I say, if you ask, I already answered. Now you ask me one more
No,
time.
it depends on the child because they're gonna want to know where they're from or why they acting the way they are. Even as they get older, they
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna want to know like, this is why I treat women, or this is why I treat men, or this is why I act the way I act in my relationship. Is this the reason why? Because of how I was raised, you know, this parent wasn't in my life. You know, you said this to me. You said I wasn't going to be no good like my father.
Mm-hmm.
You said I wasn't going to be no good like my mother.
Yeah.
You're going to be just like your mother. You get
She's
what I'm
never
saying?
satisfied.
So, I mean, them questions can go on forever. And even sometimes, even with seeking help, we as parents sometimes don't want to admit that when you raise your kids in a broken family home, where both parents not necessarily got to be in the same household, but let's just say where both parents are not in the child's life, and you can see that is really affecting that child, seek help for that child. We feel like, oh, my child in therapy, oh, he might not need it, she might not need it, she gonna be fine, I just let them know what's going on, or I tell them the truth. But no, just because we strong as adults and we were able to overcome what we grew up or what we had to deal with as adults, don't mean that that child has to or will be able to
It
do.
don't even mean you got the same support that you had because
True,
I know for
true.
me, even though I didn't grow up with my father in a home or even in the same city for that matter, I had city for the family. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're here in Maryland, and it's me, Jag, and the people I make be my friend.
Right.
No, no, but I mean, we have the family that we have here, but it's the family that we made. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And it's not like it's a whole city full. It's not what I grew up with, not what you
Mm-hmm.
grew up with. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a community that we've created for our kids and for ourselves, but it's still not the same. So it's one of them for me, it's one of them situations to where I constantly, regardless of how I'm feeling about his father, I let him know that your father loves you, yada yada yada,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just to let him know that, hey, you're not abandoned, but that ship sunk, and we're not together, but I love you and he loves you too. So
Right.
like I said, sometimes I do overcompensate, and he does have good men around him.
Right.
If he needs something or want to learn something, they're always willing to help. So that's
Right.
one thing that I'm very, happy for, that we do have here.
Right. Because even just going back on, you go back on your kid's life and you go back on your life when maybe at some point in your life you may have even felt abandoned. And like I was saying, staying early about my dad, he was doing his thing. He had to get himself together, but he came back strong. You know what I'm saying? And even with my mom, I remember we had a show some weeks ago talking about even my mom when she went off, to rehab to get herself together. Years ago. We talking about back in 1989. Kudos to you, mom. You already,
Yes,
I always boost you up for that.
that's a blessing.
I could have even felt abandoned because my mom had to give me and my sister up to my grandmother for the
Hmm.
months while she got herself together. But I never looked at that as being abandoned. I looked at that like being like one of the best and amazing things that my mom could have done. But not every kid look at it that way.
And not every kid had that option.
Some kids really look at it like you just left me. But I looked at it like, and still to this day, like you left me to build a better life for me and my sister. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah.
So you have to do the same thing for your kids. Like if they have that abandoned parent or that estranged parent, I mean, not to say, you giving kudos and high five to that parent for leaving, but just let them know, listen, it's gonna be okay. I'm here. Maybe let them get themselves together. Like, I don't know, don't bash. That's my thing. Maybe don't bash.
Because
Just
they
do,
already feel bad.
yeah, don't bash. Just do what you need to do and try to fill in as much as you can fill in, you know,
And what's weird is kids
as a
take a lot of the
parent.
responsibility too for parents not being together, because for some odd reason I felt that I was the reason why my parents weren't together.
Mm-hmm.
And which is probably true, you know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
a baby always complicates a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that it was my fault they wasn't together. So I wanted to try to put them back together. But I would see, like, they would see each other, and my mom pops off instantly, so my
Right.
dad kind of like shy away, and then it's that whole thing. And then
Right.
so, like, as I got older, I started realizing why they wasn't good for each other. So I was just like, well, this is what it is, and I just thank God I still have them both in my life. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
it came to a point where they could act, because it's like, with them, it was like a tornado and a volcano. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So they got to a point where they could actually be cool, but my mom still held a lot of unforgiveness, but she still held a lot of love too. It was a very love-hate relationship between the two of them.
Right.
But I realized that, just because they wasn't together, I didn't feel abandoned, because I had a grandmother. I had a real live grandmother.
Right.
Grandmothers now age is our age.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
I had a real grandmother. I had
Yes.
people, my mom, I had my uncle, I had aunts and uncles and numerous
Mm-hmm.
cousins. So, I didn't feel that I was, I don't know.
Like abandoned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I was a child of a single parent home. You know
Right,
what I'm
because when
saying?
we
But I had
think
a lot of
about
family.
abandoned, like you think like nobody's there or you in the corner and you have no one. But everybody look at it a different way. But then what about you have the abandoned parent or the estranged parent that's that built another family and that's just not taking care of the family that was left behind. You get what I'm saying? Like that's really
And that's where
that
my
like
mom's frustration came in, because when
like
my
that's
dad got
when
married, he had other, he was taking care of other kids, and she was like, "But hold up." So
right.
yeah.
What about these kids? So
Mm-hmm.
even that's a whole topic altogether. But it's just like, okay, you abandon
Your
your
children.
children, you estranged from your children, but then you meet somebody else and you just pretty much just take care of their kids like you don't have a whole nother family. And again,
Mm-hmm.
that's both sides. That's both sides. It's not bashing just women. It's definitely not just bashing men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sad nowadays we hear that more that men do that. But at the same time, we as women out there too that are not doing what they need to do for their kids also. Because
And
the woman could leave their marriage and I'm not happy with him and go run off and you never hear from the mom again.
mm-hmm.
They could be out, drinking and drugging, not saying that that's okay, but sometimes, it's reality. It happens. It's definitely reality. And they not taking care of their kids neither.
Right.
So, it's definitely not just men who out there that do that. But what about that person that had a family, left a family, and you now taking care of a whole nother family, regardless if you built a new family with this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
person or that's their kids.
Or yeah, they was brought into the
Yeah, they were
relationship.
born into a relationship. Like what y'all think about that?
That's a good question. Ty said, "I know I missed a portion of this, but when my mother and father were separated, she constantly bashed him. You're just like your father. One of the worst things you can do to a child." I agree. But I think it's one of the worst things you can do to a child, but you have to understand, the way your parents were raised, you know what I'm saying, or the things that they heard. And nobody, like we said, nobody goes into this with a manual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But those are things that you pick up over time. So now you know what not to do to your children if you ever find yourself in the same situation. Right. Or if you hear a relative doing that to your kid or a friend, you can say, "Look, I know how this affected me. I'm just telling you," you know what I'm saying, mm-hmm. that it may have an effect on your child that you are unaware of, because some people don't notice because it was done to them. Right. So this has never been brought to a lot of people's attention.
Because I have heard bad stuff about my dad, but like I said, you could, and the child will grow up on their own, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And to figure out what they want to do and decision on their own. Because let me tell you, you couldn't tell me nothing about my dad. I don't care. You couldn't tell me nothing about him. My father was a hero to me. You know what I'm saying? So even doing the bashing, that child still may think that their father or mom is the best person in the world.
And what was crazy is that my mom, oh gosh, like I said, my mom was queen, keep it too real. So it was all kinds of bashing, but my grandmother, mm-hmm. always was like, you honor your mother and your father. You might be the only kid to bring that man a glass of water. He gonna need you. Yada, 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 all this good stuff. Right. No matter how many times I would be sitting there with my coat and my shoes on waiting for him to come get me, he'd just go back to Texas and not stay by.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So I'd be mad and crying, and my mom is pissed. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So she letting him have it.
Right.
But at the same time, mom is telling me, it's like the angel and the devil. Mom telling me all this good stuff that I need to remember. But Lisa was like, your dad, da, 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 he, da, da, da.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which, again, it's just all anger. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like you just have to learn how to balance it out. And it's hard for kids nowadays, especially, not even nowadays, but especially when you hear it so often. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm mm-hmm. saying? It goes from being mad one time to every day somebody bring up his name, or every day you on the phone talking to your girlfriend and you always talking about my father or my mother.
Tamika Douglas said, "Hey, ladies, y'all doing a great job. Great topic.
Thank you
so much. Thank you for joining." Taji said, "Long story short, he leaving her was taken out on us as an existence." Yeah.
And that does happen too. And even vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I can't, and that's kind of where the abandonment comes in. Because I can't have the opposite parent. I don't want you, or because your daddy left me, you look like your daddy, I'm gonna whoop you up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make you feel like your daddy make me feel on the inside.
Right.
But I did talk to a guy, and he was saying a lot of times where the estrangement comes in, and this was a guy, is because baby mamas make it hard, like I said earlier. You know, they make it hard as far as, you know, making it hard to see the kid, maybe because they don't have money they can contribute, but they have time. Or they have time, I mean, and they have money and they buying and don't have time because they making the money. Or, you know, when the father does move on to be with somebody else, it's like, I don't want my kid around another bitch or around another dude.
Right.
Because I hear women say that too. I don't want I hear men say that too. I don't want no other man raising my child.
Right.
Well.
Right.
You
or
know.
sometimes sometimes the parents, the guy or the girl, might not be able to say, if I can't have him or her, then I don't want nothing to do with the child.
Yes, it does happen. Yes. You know, and we all have our ways of making this thing complicated. Dee Dee said, yes, I'm glad you brought up how you leave your family and start taking care of another family. I don't care how old the child be, kids are affected differently behind that. Always show your children you can be cordial without being together.
Right.
And even if you can't be cordial without being together, contact your kid. They go to school, send them money, whatever. Just do something so you can let your kid know, baby, I always have been trying to reach out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's important that your kid knows.
Because even at some point when your kid do reach your age, because when your child is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we know that pretty much got to go through the parents. You got to work together. But when they start reaching that age,
that cell phone age,
13, 14, 15, and you kind of no longer have to go through the parents, it's now your time for you to step up to the plate. I mean, because there's really no excuses why you should not be in this child life. You, first of all, I mean, it could be anger, it could be hurt, it could be y'all probably could have been back and forth fighting each other. She put you in jail, he put her in jail,
restraining orders, all that.
Right. It should still not be a reason why you should not be in this child's life.
Yeah.
Now, at some point, as the child get older into adulthood, now it's up to the child to say, no, I don't want to be bothered. It's now up to the child, because now you cannot be mad if that child do not want to be in your life after you done missed freaking 14 years of their life, and now here you are at 20 or 21 trying to say, I want to be there. You cannot be mad at that child.
Everybody come around in their own way.
Everybody do, but you still cannot force your relationship on that child, because to them, you are not a parent.
I'm grown.
You just a regular, you are
a stranger.
A stranger. You are a stranger to them. So you cannot be mad. And that goes to say why sometimes kids estrange from their parents as well, because you ain't been there. Yeah. So I don't want no relationship with you. It's nothing you can tell me. Like, it's nothing. You don't come to me when I'm 24. You have some kids that's willing and with open arms. They can let the past go. But you have kids don't. And as parents, we cannot, what I realized and what I learned, that as a parent, you cannot force that on your kid.
True.
You cannot force your kid to make them have a relationship with the other parent if they don't want to, as they get older and realize, I don't want to be involved with that parent because I'm hurt. You can talk, you can give your advice, you can give your opinion, but you can't force it.
Absolutely.
You cannot force it.
Brandy said communication is everything. When the absent parent doesn't contact their child, especially when they are older, they understand. I'm going through it now. My son sees what's going on with his father, that I try, and at least he sees it now. Yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? At least they see it. You know, and it's so good when they get to that age to where you don't have to be like, because my son was asking, like, why ain't my dad picking me up from school anymore? And he asked that from like kindergarten to probably 3rd grade. He was asking because, you know, we had moved out here, and he was like, you know, why my dad not picking me up no more? Because it was a time where his father was picking him up and dropping him off at school. You know what I'm saying? But when it all just came to a halt, my son didn't understand that he moved out of state. And then it became, why did he move out of state? Okay. Then it became, well, why you ain't together?
Right.
Oh, y'all was married. Why not know? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And to
Those
me that
questions,
right, and to me
yeah,
that out of state stuff don't mean nothing.
I agree.
I'm not saying that you know the parent won't miss the child or
Hmm.
you know it's going to be some visitation visits shortening and everything. But that your child moving to another state, that is definitely no reason for another parent to be in that child life.
We got all kinds of ways to communicate now.
That's I'm about to, not even now. I mean, even if you're going back to years ago when we didn't have technology the way we did, it was always cars. It was always gas stations. It was always airplanes. It
Right.
was always
Buses.
buses and trains.
Yeah.
So that and it was telephones. It was beepers and pagers. I mean, it ain't always been three ways and all that, but it was ways to communicate. And
I
it was
agree.
emails. I mean, so that moving out of state, because I know people that military and all that stuff that moved to Korea and all that stuff. You had the what you do at one point, not the FaceTime, the Skype,
Yeah.
and writing letters and sending cards. You can still send birthday cards. You can still send notes. You know what I'm saying? It's ways that you can be in your kid's life, regardless if they 2 blocks from you or 2,000 miles.
I agree.
That is the lamest excuse to say that your child moved out of state.
Or because you moved out of state with your new family. That's not fair. But okay, guys, we're gonna take a break. Grab some water and stuff with our whistles. Thank you all for joining us. Ladies Lounge, Judson's Radio DC. Please like, comment, and share this video. We want to know how you feel about estranged or abandoned by a parent. Are your children scarred for life? How do you handle it? All right, we will be right back shortly. Okay, guys, we are back. You are here in JT Ladies Lounge. I am Jazz. That's T. And we are on Jetsons Radio DC. So we are talking about estranged or abandoned by a parent, our children scarred for life. We've had some great feedback. We've talked about, communication, different ways that children may think of it, or what makes a child feel abandoned, and all those good things. So I was just sitting here thinking, like, oh, let me see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody's comments. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you
Yes,
all the
thank you.
newcomers. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like, comment, and share this video, because it is a lot of things that when we separate from our children's parent, we don't take that child into consideration, how everything after is going to affect that child. We're so
Right.
busy living the day to day, providing roof and food and clothes and all that. We're not thinking about that child's emotional state until they
Right.
lash out,
Mm.
or until they, overly obsessed with doing something, and then we scratching our heads trying to figure out where it came from, because our kid never came to us. Instead of us understanding that sometime when these children experience this, they don't know how to tell you what they're experiencing, because they don't understand it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we get, like I said, we get so caught up in us and hating the other parent that we never sit the kid down and explain to them, like, okay, I understand what you're going through. Your dad's been here, your mom's been here, but now they're not. And this is what it is, and I need your help. You know what I'm saying? If you make them feel, not saying you the man of the house or you the woman of the house now, but just letting them know, like, hey, this is going to be a struggle for both of us. We're going to have to pull each other through this. You know what I'm saying? Because kids, they pull up. You know what I'm saying? They really, really do. So, again, thank you for joining us. Stephanie said all children need to know and spend some type of time with both parents, no matter the situation. Children ask a lot of questions. They want to know about their parents, whether they are in the child's life or not. Some children do not get affected in many ways.
Yeah.
No, some children do get affected in many ways.
Yeah, that's true. And you never know how it's going to turn out. You just pray and you pray. You just say,
And
God,
pray
please
some
don't let
more.
this affect my child
Negatively.
And yes, because you can have a child, oh, excuse me when I say this, but it's just reality, that can, commit suicide, or, do harm to themselves.
Or
You
other
get
people.
kids out, to other people, and you just, it's sad. Like, as a parent, like I said earlier in the show, you never want the other parent not to be there, regardless if y'all are divorced, parted ways, in a relationship, and y'all no longer together. You still always want that other parent to be in that child's life. But if it doesn't happen, and I'm not giving everything that I said from the beginning of the show to now, I'm not giving advice. I'm telling you my story. So if y'all hear me say something throughout the shows and I'm saying, y'all may think it's advice, I'm just really telling my story of how I handle things, or how I'm currently handling things. So, you never want that child, parent, or father, or mom not to be in their life. But when it happens, we gotta snap. We gotta be on our P's and Q's, and just,
it's hard
let
too.
that child know that, I don't know, it's gonna work out. I'm here. And they may hear, they may not want to hear that it's just you. They may want that other parent. They may want that father there. They may want that mother there. But we just, as parents, gotta try our best to give them all the love and let them feel that is nothing else missing.
But even though they know
hard.
it's missing, like, I was just reading a couple statistics, and it say they have found that one parent's love, nurturing, and support can go a long way to helping children overcome many of the emotional and behavioral issues that otherwise could ensue. And that's correct. But see, again, time and money. You know what I'm saying? You can't be there full time to hug on them, so you buy them the things that they want.
Right.
And material and love kind of coincide sometimes as overcompensation.
Right.
And it's hard, but you have to learn how to even find a balance with that, because once you start setting that standard, that's what that kid expects. So that's how love is expressed for that kid, because you're not there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Also, too, it says that 24% of children from divorced families are seeing a parent once a year, if at all. I can believe that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can believe that. And you just never know a person's situation. Like I've been blessed to, my son's father, he's not getting high. He's not out here gang banging.
Right. Not
He's not,
locked up.
yeah, he's not locked up. He's not in that life. So him being in Jagger's life is okay with me. And I'm happy that I don't have to forcefully separate that.
Right.
Because that's the one time where I would interfere, is when I feel that my child's growth, mental and safety, is not being first priority, regardless to how much my kid wants to see their father. You better wave to him on the street, because I'm not going to be able to entrust your life in his hands.
Right. And that goes back to what we were saying, that not saying it's okay to do that, but sometimes one of the audience members said that sometimes you have to remove the child from that other parent life. Sometimes you do, because it might not be the best situation for that child to even be around a parent.
I agree.
Which is true. Yeah.
Completely agree. Right. Sometimes, we don't always have it together. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, just because you're a parent don't mean, you are entitled to screw that kid's life because your life is screwed. Right. Or because you're dealing with the separation of you and that child's other parent in a manner that's, harmful to you, and then putting your kid in more harm because kids can't defend themselves. We are first line defenses.
Right.
So, well, we also was thinking about, ways that if you're experiencing this, separation or estranged parent, as pissed off as it makes you, as much as you hate him or her, you know what I'm saying? We had found some other ways that you can help your child, and possibly you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when you get help when you're helping other people. So we found some different ways that you can, help your children deal with this situation a little bit better. Not saying it's a fix-all, not saying your kid's going to be perfect and they're going to come out, unscathed, because at some point it makes some kind of effect, small or big. You know what I'm saying? But we found some helpful tips that may help you help them, which will, I think, in turn help you as well.
And let me tell you, these tips I definitely have went by, and they worked. And as life go on, you continue to go on, because you never know at what point of your child's life that it may affect them. You can't just say, oh, she's grown or he's grown now, it shouldn't bother him, because you can't say what's going on in their mind. They don't share everything with you. So the first one was, family is not just biology. Find role models who will support and care about you. And that's one thing I would say. I thank God that my daughter had that. I can't say if she didn't, would she have been the same way? But I thank God she had it. Role models in my family, role models in her dad family. And it's crazy because I just did this post for him about his graduation, giving him a shout out, because I wanted to thank him for being a major part. And when we was on break, me and Jazz, I just said this to Jazz, as a mom, we give, not as a mom, but dads get praise when they do for their kids. And they get it because a lot of dads are not in their kids' life. But they really just, the dads that are in their kids' life, they're just doing really what we are doing as moms. But it's so often that dads are not there, and that's what reality and social media and all that look at, that they get that praise. But I have heard dads say, I'm just doing my job. I'm doing what I need to do as a parent. You know what I'm saying? But when you are a parent where you didn't have that biological dad that was in your child life, and then you get another man that stepped up to the plate and took care of that child, to me, I'm sorry, at the end of the day, you're going to probably get all the praise. You might not want it, but you're going to get it. And I'm not just talking about my situation. I'm just talking about the next man's situation versus the next woman's situation. You know what I'm saying? The woman who stepped up and took care and raised somebody else's kids, still taking care of their family, but just became a mom to somebody else's kid when the mom wasn't there. You're going to get that praise.
Or even when the mom is there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even if the mom is there, but you still stepped in and became a second mom. However you did it.
I agree.
It's just share the love. Kids need love. You know what I'm saying? They need love. Like, They just need
The
it.
world needs more love. But and then it's like even children need to be heard, because I know we get caught up in our feelings and
Mhm.
sometimes anger overtakes us and the kid is trying to communicate something,
Mhm.
but we so caught up in explaining to them how trash the other person is. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to shut them up with a quick answer,
Right.
and they don't get their feelings out and they internalize it and it manifests. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like poison. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It comes out in all the bad ways, and the kid is actually trying to communicate with you to let you know how they feel. Like I said, even though my son asked me the same questions since third grade about his dad, as much as it irritates my fibers,
Mhm.
because of what how I really want to tell him like what's good, you know, because
But
he's
you can't.
asking, but I can't. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because he's 10, and so I have to give it to him on a 10-year-old level so he
Right.
can make his own decision about whatever he's deciding to feel. But I want to keep that door open that he feels comfortable with talking to me,
Mhm.
because I didn't, hurry up and shut him up. Or,
Right.
because
Because
I do have
it
a
does
habit of
say
just
that.
being like, Jag, I told you your dad moved to North Carolina to be with his family.
But it
You know
does
what I'm
say
saying?
that because it
So
says children needs to be heard.
yeah,
You can't control what the other parent does. You can only control yourself.
right, right.
To help your children get through their pain, ensure they feel heard and listened to. That gives them value.
Yeah, because even I try to ignore mine, and I can't. He
Right.
won't. Am I lying? Like he'll
Right.
just
Right.
ask me in a different way at a different time. He'll find
And
a
you
way to keep
can't.
asking me
You
the same
have to.
question, but I always have to address it, because he's not gonna drop it. As much as I would love him to, he's gonna make me come up with an answer. So I appreciate him for that. You know what I'm saying? For at least holding my feet to the fire and for not being satisfied with whatever anybody tells him until he feels right about it.
Right.
You know what
But
I'm
what I
saying?
noticed, what I did, even though there was questions asked, for the most, like my son, he was more the one that asked questions, just even on the strength of, why you and daddy not together no more, this and that.
Hmm.
Um, he the one that really asked more questions. My daughter didn't. But what I realized when it came as she got older, and then even with my son, that before they ask the questions, ask them how they feel or what they think.
Oh,
So you know what I'm saying? That, like, let's talk. You know what I'm saying? What's on your mind? How you feeling? What you thinking about? How's life treating you in this area? Like, what you think about this? So when that question is asked by that child, is not caught off guard. So if you bring it to their attention first, you already have prepared yourself for the answer that you're going to give. That was just something that I learned, how to do. That's not me telling y'all to do that, but
and
I'm just
and
saying
I was
that's
like,
just
I
something
wish
that
I would have thought. I don't know, and see, I guess it just depends on your kid, because I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't even know what to ask Jagger. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Because he just always catches me all left. It'll be a random time. Like he just asked. He was just talking about a Santa Claus reel.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't even talking about Santa Claus.
Right.
You know
No,
what I'm
I
saying? So it's like, and I have to get silent because I want to be like, no, boy. But
right,
at the
right,
same time, it's like, well, I don't want to, whatever. You
right,
know what I'm saying? I think I'm gonna do Kwanzaa this year. We'll
right.
talk about that later. But yeah, so it's just like, if you can prepare, like front load your kids and,
Mm-hmm.
try to talk to them about what they're about to experience or what they're experiencing right now, that's an awesome thing. But, it's just, kids, you know what I'm saying? No two kids are alike, that's for sure.
Right. And
But
to
you
say
do, oh,
honesty,
go ahead.
find help for what to say to your children if you don't know what to say. And we may think we always have the answers. So I guess it's saying seek help. And like I said, that goes to regardless if it's somebody in your family, a therapist. Sometimes, sure, we need them too. Just sometimes you ain't always out about seeking help from everybody in the world, whatever the case may be. But if you can't
Like,
find the right answer, maybe go to the next person that been through that situation, and you could just ask how you handle that, how you went about this. You know what I'm saying? And just always be honest. It's a time and place for everything. You have a 5-year-old might ask you this. You got to be honest on the 5-year-old level.
yes.
Then you got the 10-year-old level. You got to be honest with the 10-year-old. Then you got the 15 and the 20,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes on because it's crazy. Because I'm 38 years old, and when I tell y'all, I still ask my mother questions. I mean, I do. I still have asked my mother questions about stuff that went on in my past and within my family. And I'm 38 years old. So I'm gonna tell you the questions honestly never stop. When you ask when does the question stop?
Do you mean never as in never ever
No,
stop?
I'm not saying they never stop. It depends again on the child or how much they want to know. It's just that it's some things I wanted to know. So at 38, yes, I still ask my parents, well, my mom, questions about, her and my dad and just family itself, just to know, where I'm at. Thank God it ain't scarred me. I mean, maybe it has in a way. I don't know, but I don't think I'm that bad of a person.
No, I mean, but
No, not bad of a person, but I
don't
mean,
necessarily mean you bad.
no, not bad of a person, but I'm talking about I don't think I'm that bad off. Where I probably could be is what I'm saying. Not saying that my family was crazy and all over the place, but I'm just saying you sometimes recap your childhood and what you've been through, and you be like, yeah, I turned out pretty darn good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I absolutely do get what you're saying, and I just remember my mom and my grandmother used to have conversations, and my mom still questioned. My mom was 53 and she was still asking my grandmother stuff, and that was because she didn't know.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess she needed to know.
Sometimes I'm telling you, like I said, that the questions can go on and on.
But
and
at
on.
least, I'm just grateful that Granny Fanny is here to answer all the questions.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And hopefully she stay around so she can answer some for Jagger.
Right.
But thank you all for joining us. Let me see all the newcomers. I can't see any comments.
No, I do. Brooke Cole said, hello, Farah. I'm looking. Nicole Settles just joined.
Hey, Nikki.
So we have a few people that joined at the end. So if you missed the beginning of the show, you can always go back on Facebook and you can look at the beginning of the show, or either you can go on YouTube
Yes.
at JT Ladies Lounge. We're also on YouTube,
Mhm.
JT Ladies Lounge. And like I said, Jetson, you can also go to Jetson's Radio DC
On Facebook.
Mhm. You can find us there. And you can also go to our personal pages.
Mhm.
We upload the video, so there's no reason why you cannot see it from the beginning if you would like to comment and share this video.
And also, don't forget to send us your lady letters. Guys, too, if you have any comments, anything, or any topics you want to discuss, or something you just want our thoughts on, want us to share it, if you want it anonymous, whatever. We love reading those. We can't wait for that to happen. We have an event coming up September 16th. We're going to be in Columbia, Maryland for is it Mom's Night Out?
Mom's Day Out.
Mom's Day Out.
Mhm.
And do you remember the time?
It was 8 to 1 or 8 to 3.
8
but
to
the
3.
flyers up. We're gonna post the flyers and everything up on our page. But I know it was an early event.
Moms need to get out early.
Yeah.
So make sure you come out and join us for that. Come see what we have in store. Well, it's not our event, but we're gonna be there, like doing interviews and all that good stuff.
And speakers.
Yes, we're gonna speak because we got a lot to say. So make sure if you do get the chance, make sure you come out and support that. Again, you have all our social media contact, our email addresses. Let's see.
And let us know. Even today is Wednesday, WCW. Wednesdays is the days that we do
Wild Card
Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a topic that an audience member or somebody just want to hear us talk about, laugh, joke, be serious about, we are the Ladies Lounge. Our topics, about everyday women struggles, but at the same time, our everyday women struggles include men. So we're not about bashing.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, as you can see, we're definitely not about bashing, but we are focused on women's struggles because we are women.
And don't be afraid to send us your topics at the last minute, because sometimes it is the 11th hour and the 59th minute.
Yeah.
And we will be like, you know what? Let's just do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be something completely different. And you can probably tell, but it'll be something that we feel is something that needs to be discussed right now while it's on our minds and while our audience is calling for it. So again, thank you all so much for joining us here in the Ladies Lounge at Judson's Radio DC. Like, comment, and share this video. Keep the conversation going, and make sure you join us Sunday at 7 p.m.